development in low Earth orbit. While NASA's interest in finding innovative approaches and stimulating commercial market in low Earth orbit are well intended, we need to be responsible with the taxpayers' investment in the ISS as a national and international asset, and we need to carefully consider how we ensure a successful transition of our ISS activities going forward. And now I will turn to Ranking Member Mr. Babin for your opening statement.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate it. I want to say thank you to our distinguished witnesses here today. And also, I'd like to extend a welcome to several folks that are up here from my district, from Johnson Space Center. If you would stand, if you're out there from Johnson Space Center getting your, oh man, we got half the room, okay. I knew there were some familiar faces out there, but I wanted to say welcome. I hope you're learning a lot up here about legislation, and some of the activities that we're going to talk about today are these folks right in their bailiwick and some of their responsibilities. So thank you for being up here. But anyway, thank you, Chairman Horn, for holding this hearing. The International Space Station is one of humanity's highest technological achievements. As an internationally built and operated orbiting laboratory, the ISS conducts critical research that helps us both on Earth and in space. As a multinational project, this engineering marvel illustrates the power of U.S. leadership on the frontiers of this exploration. NASA has worked very hard to conquer the challenges of low Earth orbit. We have learned how the human body reacts to the microgravity environment, and we're still learning, I might say. And we have grown food, crystallized proteins, we've launched satellites and conducted scientific observations of the Earth and the stars above. During the 115th Congress, I introduced the Leading Human Spaceflight Act, which, among other provisions, would extend the authorization of the ISS from 2024 to 2030. And I would note that this extension would not simply swap out dates. Rather, my bill would also call for an earlier termination of federal support for the ISS if a commercial alternative is in place prior to 2030. It is vital to not only our leadership in space, but also our national security that America maintain a continual, uninterrupted human presence in low Earth orbit. I look forward to working with my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to ensure that we prevent another damaging capability gap like the one we experienced at the conclusion of our space shuttle program. All of that being said, it is very important to note that our financial resources for space activities are limited, and any decision on ISS extension will result in some trade-offs. NASA has previously estimated that the ISS will cost taxpayers between $3 and $4 billion annually through 2024, roughly half of NASA's total human spaceflight budget. Each dollar spent on transportation to and maintenance of the ISS is a dollar that is not being spent on exploration beyond low Earth orbit, whether it is to the Moon, to Mars, or other destinations. Numerous reports from the National Academies and the NASA Inspector General have concluded that an extension of the ISS could result in a multi-year delay to future deep space missions. So I proudly represent the Johnson Space Center, which manages both the ISS and the Orion programs. So I am especially aware of the trades that we have to make between low Earth orbit and deep space exploration. Aside from today's discussion of the ISS, we will also hear from our witnesses about ongoing efforts to increase commercial activities in low Earth orbit. NASA is engaged in a lot of work over the last 3 years to examine potential markets and the capacity for them. They've commissioned think tank studies, sought input from industry, and researched the various architectures at length. This work informed their recent announcement on ISS commercialization last month. Our witnesses today will share their thoughts on how NASA can continue to work with industry to find opportunities to develop more commercial markets in low Earth orbit. Section 303 of the 2017 NASA Transition Authorization Act directed NASA to conduct a transition report for ISS, where NASA would be one of many customers of a low Earth orbit commercial human spaceflight enterprise. A future where NASA is able to act as a customer and purchase a variety of services will allow the agency to focus on more ambitious deep space missions, and I look very much forward